madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was conveyed by the Sahaba to the Tabi'een. Among them, some scholars consider Abu Hanifa to be from among them. That he didn't actually narrate from any of the Sahaba, but that he did see. The difference of opinion relative to whether he was or he wasn't. Anyway, we had then Abu Hanifa, leading scholar from the generation after, really among the Tabi'een. We ask him, Ya Abu Hanifa, O Abu Hanifa, what is your madhab? What is he going to say? The Hanafi madhab? No. He used to tell his companions, his students, don't write down what I tell you of my opinions. They said, why not? Because today I may hold an opinion, tomorrow I hold another opinion. And the day after I hold another opinion, and the day after that I have another opinion. So don't write them down. Just take from where I took it. Take it from where I took it. وَإِذَا صَحَّ الْحَدِيث فَهُوَ مَذْهَبِي. And if you find the hadith which is authentic, then that is really my madhab. So what is Abu Hanifa saying here? He's saying his madhab is the madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The madhab of the Sahih Hadith. The Sahih Hadith is what conveys to us the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So this is what he would have said. Similarly, Imam Malik. Anybody asking him, he was not going to say, I follow the Maliki madhab. He had no intention of making a madhab. He just taught. What? The Sunnah. He taught the Sunnah. Now, if we look at Imam Shafi'i, Imam Shafi'i is a classical example of the way of the companions, the Tabi'een, Tabi'een. In that, the companions were on different grades. Some of them were with the Prophet ﷺ from the early days. Some of them accepted Islam just prior to the conquest of Mecca. Some of them after the conquest of Mecca. So they came into Islam at different stages. Some had more knowledge of the deen than others. So those who had less knowledge, they would study under those who had more. Those who were younger studied under those who were older. Sometimes the younger ones had more and people who were older studied under them. So they studied and were free to study under whoever was available. They would never say, I am only going to study under Abdullah ibn Umar, for example. Tabi'in, same thing. They would not stick to one companion and only study under him. No, they studied under him and they would go and study under other companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Freely. Nobody had a problem. Nobody complained. Nobody raised any issues, that you're fatwa shopping. Because this is the common point that comes up later on, right, in our times. This fatwa shopping, right? Where you go to this madhab, you go here, you go there, you ask this one, you ask that one. And so the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they went, they asked. They asked this companion, they asked that one, they asked the other one. The Tabi'een, they did the same thing. Tabi'een did the same thing. And then Imam Shafi'i, student of Imam Malik for 20 years, as we mentioned, didn't begin teaching until after Imam Malik died. Teaching in Yemen. He's accused of Shiite leanings, taken as a prisoner to Baghdad. He has to defend his position. He argued he was not leaning towards Shiism at all. He's released. There in Baghdad, he studied under Muhammad al-Shaybani, student of Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa was already dead. So he studied under his students. He gained knowledge there. Now when he was in Yemen teaching, he was teaching based on the knowledge he had accumulated from Imam Malik. After studying under the students of Abu Hanifa, he changed a number of his opinions and he wrote a book called Al-Hujjah. His book called Al-Hujjah. And there he outlined his positions, his new positions, where he changed from positions of Imam Malik, etc. Then he went to Egypt in order to study under Imam al-Layth, but Imam al-Layth had died already. So he studied under Imam al-Layth's students. After studying under Imam al-Layth's students, he changed a bunch of his opinions again. He wrote a new book called Al-Umm. This was the classic, Al-Umm, in which he changed those opinions. He stayed in Egypt and he became the Imam of that area. Now, he changed his opinion. He changed his position. Because some people have a problem. They said, okay, I hear this, for example, in Dubai where I am. People come, they say, okay, we're studying here in Dubai, we're listening under the scholars here in Dubai, and they tell us one thing. When we go back to India, the scholars there tell us something else. And then when we come back again, those other scholars tell us something else. Isn't it better just to take one and just say, that's it, I'm just going to hang on to that one, just so I'm not going here back and forth and here and there? Isn't it better? This is the argument. It sounds logical, so you have some stability in your opinions and how you can function. But the reality is, did Imam al-Shafi'i have just one opinion and stick with that one opinion? No. And isn't he better than we are? Wasn't he more knowledgeable? Right? Because the idea most people have is a scholar, he has his opinion, he never changes his opinion. People might change their opinion, but not the scholar. Right? This is common. The idea that a scholar says one opinion, then somebody happens to bring some argument to him, he has to change his opinion and say, oh man, this is not the real scholar here. He changed his opinion. But it's well known, Imam Malik, for example, used to teach that when you make wudu, washing your feet, you don't stick your fingers between your toes. He was teaching that. One class, one of his students said, Imam Malik, I heard a narration from Rasulullah ﷺ through the chain, mentioning the whole chain of course, that the Prophet ﷺ used to put his fingers between his toes when he was washing his feet. Imam Malik, next class, corrected himself and taught it. No problem. No problem. Nobody said, oh, Imam Malik, changed his opinion, doesn't really know everything now, This is no. They accepted that. And if we can accept Imam Shafi'i changing these, this is real scholarship. That nobody knows everything. As when Imam Malik was asked, if a person follows a Sahabi in everything that he does, will he be on the correct path? Right? And remember, there's a hadith that people commonly quote, Ashabi kan nujum. My companions are like stars. Bi'ayhim iqtadaytum ihtadaytum. If any one of them you follow, you'll be rightly guided. It's a commonly quoted hadith in support of sticking to one person, one group, one madhab, whatever, and just... However, it turns out it's fabricated. And Imam Malik says to the man who asked him that, no, you will not be on the right path unless that Sahabi was on the right path. Because the only one who is free from error is the one in that grave. He pointed to the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the reality. So everyone is capable of error, and the defining principle is the madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.